this is a very, very, very deficit-heavy bill, isn't it, Elon? You know, we should work together to at least, you know, work to trim the fat a little bit. Just something. He's still evil, so I wouldn't want to like normalize him in the public eye, you know. But I can understand. We're in a rough position, man.
Of the Senate. And Elon Musk put over $250 million towards the last election. Elon Musk changed the spending agreement back in December during the transition before Donald Trump was even in power, simply by putting out a post on X, and the deal that was struck by John Thune and Speaker Johnson with Democrats in the House and Senate, it combusted because of this sort of messaging. And so the question here is, should Donald Trump have done more to keep Elon Musk in Washington? Because now he has a very powerful...
Heavy military presence. Looks entirely grandiose.
Can you get in?
Inside the perimeter already. Now I just need to dress the part.
Keep us updated.
Influence on social media, but also through the purse strings. And if any changes are made to this the reconciliation package by members of the Senate, it'll have to go back to the House and be voted up and again, Chris. And they passed the initial one by just a 215 to 214 margin. Elon Musk is suddenly, you could make the case potentially helping Democrats in their messaging, making the case that Republicans are attempting to add the spending at a time that they're also trying to run parallel tax cuts.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Ron Paul is actually agreeing with him on Twitter, which isn't, super duper unlikely, considering Ron Paul's opposition to the One Big Beautiful Bill. I wonder how long Senate Republicans will be able to hold this up. Keep in mind, they have a month deadline. Trump has very insistently said a July 4th is his deadline. He wants to get the bill passed by July 4th. Who knows if that'll happen? This is Ron Paul. Oh, sorry, I confused Ron and Rand. Sorry. Well, okay, fine. Relative to Rand Paul, yes. Ron Paul's support is still pretty meaningful. There is that like weird group of like fash libertarian adjacent Republicans who are agreeable to people like you. We default if they don't pass by July. Ron for dad. Yeah, for some reason I couldn't remember if he was dad or grandfather. Of course he means dad. Yeah, they're not old enough. There's not enough of a difference in age. I sometimes think of Rand Paul as being younger than he is because he has the broccoli cut. Does anyone else feel that way? That he looks like a broccoli cut Zoomer who he fell asleep in a tanning booth or something, so he's all like red and wrinkled, but he's still like 22. Also, libertarianism is like a teenage boy's ideology. So, Mike Johnson got asked about the attacks. 2 minutes of content.
What do you say to Ron Musk? Just called your bill disgusting.
Yeah, let me say this. It's very disappointing. Okay, I've come to consider Elon a good friend. He's obviously a very intelligent person, and he's done a lot of great work. We've applauded all the work they've done with Doge.
Yeah, Mike Johnson despises Elon, especially right now. Keep that in mind.
Identifying fraud, waste, and abuse in the government. It's a very important service that's been performed, and we're so excited about it. We're now in the process of codifying that. As you all know, the administration has qualified and quantified the fraud, waste, and abuse that they found in Doge. They're sending it to us to codify, and that's what we'll be doing with the rescissions package and the appropriations process, and so that's something we're very excited about.
But this is a lie. There's no intention of doing this. Also, the cuts were so minimal to begin with that even if he could do it, he wouldn't.
With all due respect, my friend Elon is terribly wrong about the One Big Beautiful Bill. We had a long conversation yesterday, he and I. We spoke for, I think, more than 20 minutes on the telephone, and I extolled all the virtues of the bill. He seemed to understand that. We had a very friendly conversation about it, and I told him that we're achieving not only all of our priorities, all the promises we made on the
Do you think Mike Johnson's intelligent? Yes, 100%. He's a freak, but he's definitely smart. He's done an incredibly good job of leading the House. Like, look at, with all of the infighting in the House GOP, he has managed to get, like, near uniform, like, near consensus from them consistently. He's very good at what he does. Yeah.
Israel. All the American First agenda wrapped into this legislation. We're also achieving, the top line on this is two very important things. We're making permanent a massive tax cut, and we are making a massive reduction in spending. $1.6 trillion is the calculation. I've said this many times. I'll be saying it until we get this thing over the line. This is the most amount of money that any government has ever saved on planet Earth in a piece of legislation. It's a very important first start. Elon is missing it, okay? And it's not personal. I know that
Oh,
the
he's mad.
EV mandate, very important to him, that is going away because the government should not be subsidizing these things. It's part of the Green New Deal, and I know that has an effect on his business, and I lament that. We talked about the ramp down period on that and how
Trying to make it seem as though Elon's only attacking the bill out of self-interest. Like the only reason Elon doesn't like it is because he wants those EV credits. This is an insult to him. This is like an
Someone's
attack on
station behind the
him.
security
Not a very subtle one either.
that should be duly considered by Congress. But for him to come out and ban the whole bill is to me just very disappointing, very surprising. A lot of the conversation I had with him yesterday.
Listen to all of the attacks, man. Elon only cares about this because he's losing out on the EV subsidies. I talked to Elon just yesterday, so him flipping on me now makes him look like flippant and indecisive and untrustworthy.
I'm going to let others draw their own conclusions about that, but
If the cradle's in Vorkuta, Pantheon will have that base well defended. We'll approach at low altitude and land a few miles.
Heavy military presence. Looks entirely Pantheon.
Can you get in?
Inside the perimeter already. Now I just need to dress the part.
Keep us updated.
I guess you.
Go ahead.
Marshal, I'm new.
this is not personal between any of us. I just deeply regret that he's made this mistake.
Weirdly long response too. I feel like, dude, he hates his ass, man. That's really funny. This is less messy of a breakup than I was expecting. Then your standards are too high. This is a big deal. Also, keep in mind, guys, if you want this to really blow up, eventually somebody's going to talk to Trump about this. I guarantee you he doesn't know anything right now. At some point, there's going to be like a direct communication between both of them, or Trump is going to find out what Elon said, that Trump's one big beautiful bill was called a disgusting abomination. At some point, this is going to get out to him. So I'm just saying, I really, really, really hope this blows up. I mean, Fox will turn on, Trump will turn on Fox and Friends and they'll mention it. Maybe. He does talk to people in real life, though. I would be surprised if Fox News covers this directly.
Former Treasury official, Morning Joe economic analyst, our good friend Steve Ratner over at the Southwest Wall. Steve, good morning. Good to see you. Let's continue this conversation about the so-called Big Beautiful Bill and its impact on the national debt.
I
What do
see
you
there's
look at
some
there?
side.
Well, look, it's a really big bill. It's beautiful and we can debate. But as you heard before, the
Or I can sabotage
people
their
who think it's
unloaded
too big,
warheads.
and people who
It's them
think
to swap
there's
out.
other stuff that should be cut. And so it's a really tough situation for the president. But let's take a look at what the bill
It's
as
a
it was written in
possibility.
the House would actually do. First of all, it's important to note that we're already, as I think everybody
An
knows,
attack
starting with a
helicopter
really
landed
large
in the gated area
deficit. Our
below.
deficit is almost
Might be
$2
able to
trillion
place a charge
right
on
now.
it.
While it's dripped down slightly, it would otherwise
They're
then
about
be
to
climbing up
service it.
to about
Wonder if I can
between
remember
$2 and
the fuel
$2.5
supply.
trillion. That's would be nothing. The big beautiful bill, you can look at
There's
two
a
ways.
security
As it is
station.
written, it would do
Maybe I
this.
can try
So
sweet
the
talking the
budget
card
deficit is
inside.
still higher than we have. But there are a bunch of gimmicks in there in terms
Probably.
of making things expire that are
about
really
to
going to end up
cargo in the
expiring. And so
Something
I think the
explode.
real way to look at this big beautiful bill is it would take the deficit out to $3 trillion in 2035.
You have a very impressive
that
radar
becomes a
dish.
huge amount. And then you take and see what it does to the debt. So right now we're sitting here with $37 trillion in debt.
Or
Compared to
take out its
GDP,
power
the
supply.
whole size of our
It
economy
must
is
be
only
connected to a
30 trillion.
generator.
Because our debt is bigger than our economy. That's the only other time this has happened was in World War II. So we're starting with a huge debt load. And then no matter really what you do, because the deficit stays high, no matter what you do, the big beautiful bill makes it worse. You could end up out here with $55 trillion of debt. So the debt growing faster than the economy, this becomes unsustainable, and this is what the deficit hawks are really focused on.
And Steve, already bigger than the economy is the national debt, and this would just add to that, as you say. This is a large conversation, I know, but just briefly, what are the risks to a debt that is larger than the economy?
Well, what you've seen happen in the last few weeks as this bill has been moving through Congress is periodic spurts of interest rates moving up. The federal government has to sell this debt periodically. It rolls over, it matures, they have to go out in the market and sell it. And the risk is that you pay higher and higher interest rates
Someone's
for our
stationed
debt.
behind the
And that
security
in turn,
window
as we
there.
look at in a few charts, squeezes out other kinds of spending and puts inordinate pressure on our debt and forces some really, really unpleasant things. At some point, reversing tax cuts when the market says it's enough. We're not going to keep financing these kinds of deficits. It's really a burden we're leaving to our children and our grandchildren. And that is an incredibly selfish act that we're doing.
All right, speaking of tax cuts, let's look to your second chart. These are, in other words, absolutely massive tax cuts. I don't think anything we saw from the first Trump administration.
Yeah, so this bill, again, there's a bunch of gimmicks in it. You can look at it as a $2.4 trillion bill. You can look at it as a $4 trillion increase to the deficit. But compare it to all the stuff we've done in the last few years. The bipartisan infrastructure law looks puny compared to this. The rescue plan, half the size of this. The CARES Act, which was Trump's COVID rescue plan, $1.7 trillion. And here, Trump's signature tax bill from his first administration, the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, $1.5 trillion. So compared to his last tax cut, we're talking about something that is massively different. Why is it so big? He wants to extend all the tax cuts that were set to expire in the last bill. This was the gimmick in the last bill. They use these gimmicks to make these bills look smaller because then they come back and extend the tax cut, increase the standard deduction, increase the child tax cut. And then these are a bunch of campaign promises that Trump made sort of out of nowhere in states and in places where it would be politically advantageous. No tax on overtime, no tax on car loan interest, no tax on tips and so forth. They want to increase defense spending. He promised no taxes on Social Security for seniors. You can't do that through this process, but he came up with a workaround to basically provide the same thing. And then there are the cuts. And this is what Elon Musk is on about, rescinding the IRA climate funds. This is the EV tax credit in here. And these are the Medicaid cuts, $700 billion, which have not only gotten criticism from Democrats, but even Republicans like Josh Hawley, a very conservative Republican, has said this can't happen. And so, as we talked about in the last block, you've got people on both sides of this pushing in different directions, which is going to make this unbelievably difficult to get through the Senate. And then it has to go back to the House and be reconciled with the bill that they passed.
As you say, that last line, Medicaid cuts, is going to be a big.
We have a special theme for the show tonight, or at least for the monologue tonight. It's a through line that seems to be running through everything lately, and that through line is stupid. This is going to be a stupid show. Nothing from the past. Science is now a matter of opinion. And according to researchers at Johns Hopkins University, since the pandemic, vaccination rates for measles, mumps, and rubella are waning. Fewer people are getting them for themselves and for their kids. Turns out the only thing we learned from COVID is how to make sourdough bread. In Hawaii, vaccination rates have dropped 15%, which dangerously threatens what they call herd immunity. Have you ever noticed people who do their own research always do it wrong? Did a deep dive, and turns out every credible scientist in the world says we should get the measles vaccine. So I did. Trump is actively waging war against Harvard University, which seems to be one of the very few institutions with integrity right now. They are fighting back. And according to CNN, a lot of other colleges have begun quietly negotiating to avoid the president's wrath. I hear Brown University just changed their name to Orange. Trump right now is pushing back against a story from the best-selling author of multiple Trump tell-alls, Michael Wolff, who says the real reason he's going after Harvard is because they didn't accept him when he was a student. Trump responded, Michael Wolff, a third-rate reporter who was laughed at
even by the scoundrels of the fake news, recently stated that the only reason I'm beating up on Harvard is because I applied there and didn't get in. The story is totally false. I never applied to Harvard. In other words, he applied to Harvard. Harvard is really in a terrible spot. The White House is trying to cut their funding. They're threatening to revoke visas for foreign students. This woman was one of the commencement speakers at Harvard. She graduated from the school. And pay attention to what's happening in the background while she talks, because somehow it weirdly sums everything up.
The message itself is, if I have to put it into one sentence, it would be humanity rises and falls as one. I think we are living in a very difficult time. There's a lot of divisions in terms of ideas, ethnicities, identities, and I think this is a time where we can use a little bit more moral imagination and imagine ourselves being connected with one another.
Or we can just keep beating each other's ass until we get hit by a truck. You know, Harvard may be the most elite university in the world, but it is still in Boston. Don't ever forget that. Trump claims the reason for his battle with Harvard is he wants them to crack down on anti-Semitism, which is definitely why his people voted for him, especially this guy who Trump pardoned on his first day. He hates anti-Semitism so much he wore a Camp Auschwitz hoodie to demonstrate. But despite the overall feeling of gloom at our nation's universities, our students are still graduating, still having fun. This is the scene at Cal Poly Pomona where one new graduate started his post-academic career with a flip.
Scotty Nin.
The Nin is short for nincompoop. And then we have the high school version of that from South Plantation High School in Broward County, Florida.
Emilio Rodriguez.
This is what happens when you make the owner of the WWE Secretary of Education. But the biggest flip of the day belongs to Elon Musk. On Friday, Trump gave Elon Musk the key to the White House, and I guess you better change the laws, because today Musk had something very nasty to say about Trump's big, beautiful bill. He wrote, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it." When he's off the ketamine, he is a lot less fun. I mean, he's right. But shame on those who voted for it. Who bankrolled these people that voted for it? I want the name of whoever bankrolled. Oh, wait, it's his name. For Elon Musk to call this a disgusting abomination is really saying something, because this is the man who created this disgusting abomination. Musk also tweeted that Congress is bankrupting America. Well, yo, Elon, bro, were you not paying attention when Trump said he was going to run the country like one of his businesses? Trump versus Elon, what an unexpected, I'm not sure who to root for. It's like Diddy versus R. Kelly. Obviously, this was a big deal at the White House. So they asked Press Secretary Karen Leavitt about it, and she dodged that question like her boss did the draft.
How mad do you think President Trump is going to be when he finds out that Elon Musk said, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it."
Look, the president already knows where Elon Musk stood on this bill. It doesn't change the president's opinion. This is one big, beautiful bill, and he's sticking to it.
I love that the question is, how angry is the president going to be? Is it going to be Chernobyl or Vesuvius? Is it just going to be regular mad or extra crispy? Either way, he's very good at pretending grandpa is a sane individual. Somehow Trump has managed to restrain himself and not lash out at Elon Musk, probably for about 288 million reasons, but it's only a matter of time. Trump spent the day doing productive work. He signed more in a series of important executive orders.
Sir, the purpose of this executive order is for the beautification of our national monuments, specifically to augment the breasts on the Statue of Liberty. You said that right now Lady Liberty is, quote, a 5, and you thought that other countries are laughing at the size of the statue's bosom. So this order allocates money meant for veteran housing to provide the Statue of Liberty with a 13-ton boob job.
He did a very good job. He did. How many people could have done that? I don't know. I think a lot.
Now say I did a good job again. Guys, I still have to get the president his bath, so when he's done scribbling like a baby, everybody applaud so that I can get home.
Is that it?
Yeah, let's get you in the truck.
Okay, well, that's a step in the right direction. I'm for that. The White House also unveiled Trump's new presidential portrait. You know, he wasn't happy with the one they shot for him when he took office in January, so he had them do it again. And this is the new portrait. It's called Sneering in the Dark. Isn't that fun? This is the last thing a McNugget sees before it dies. They actually cropped. The original photo was much wider. They shot it on the Death Star. Emperor Palpatine hand seated. It's interesting because this was Trump's first presidential portrait in 2017. He's brightly lit. He's smiling in front of an American flag. How did we get to this? Could it be a robot clone of Donald Trump? I mentioned last night Trump reposted an absolutely wacko conspiracy theory that says President Biden was really a robotic clone, which was a topic of lighthearted conversation on Fox News. It brings us right back to our theme tonight.
Apparently, Donald Trump reposted somebody's post on Truth Social claiming that Biden had been executed in 2020 and was replaced by a robotic clone. Clearly, President Trump did not believe that. I mean, I know Trump since. I'm sure he was just trolling.
Well, I would hope so, but I think also it gets to the real heart of the scandal, which is who in the world was president for the past 4 years? If it wasn't Joe Biden, was it a clone? Was it a cable of White House officials?
Yes, was it a cable of White House officials, or even scarier, a cabal of them? Never mind, I need to cancel my subscription to Cabal. But don't let her mispronunciation distract you from the point she was making, which was every bit as dumb as the word she got wrong. Then we have our Secretary of Education, who's
Yazzy.
This lock. Good morning.
Not for me, it isn't. Can't wait to get out of here. Thought this was a 3-day assignment, not a week.
We shouldn't leave this body lying around. Got something. Looks like some kind of work authorization form.
That sounds useful.
Suit yourself. What's taking so damn long? Uh-huh. No shit. Problem is, private tight asses over in the booth doing things by the book today won't let us load up without authorization from Betzer. Now, how about that? Do me a favor, show it to the booth over there. We gotta get this show on the road.
Hey there. I need to load something onto the chopper. It's urgent.
Sure. Got an authorization form. Okay. Tell the guys they're good to go.
Maybe I can do something with that cargo inside the gate.
Okay, just let me know. You all set? Okay, just let me know.
Could plant this on one of the defenses. How about C4 right on the chopper? Direct and effective. Okay, Marshal. I've made this helicopter deploy. I've been spotted.
All right. I like it. Defuse the situation if you can. Good work. At the SAM site and their radar.
Tell Sergeant Whitman that I'll have it ready for him. Out.
Copy that.
Is the radar system operational right now?
As far as I know. Why? Something wrong? Chuck? They could be right. I'm still trying to figure this shit out.
run a clutter simulation, whatever that is. The radar must go offline when the simulation's running. Report codes. Interesting. One's listed as system malfunction, code 11A. He was deferring to a Sergeant Whitman over the radio. That might be useful.
So what's up? There is no code 11C. You sure you heard that right? You serious? Why am I just now hearing about this? Was he more specific about what he wants? We've never run a weather simulation.
Almost blew it.
What the hell? We're compromised.
Do what you gotta do.
still have to watch out for
Can't see us coming if the riddler's in 1,000 pieces. Their radar dish is wired up.
They'll never see us coming. Now for that SAM site.
Need to find more of those charges first.
Thank you.